I'll ask it. I know that this kind of is like a sports talk radio question, but I'll ask it anyway. Which do you think is his biggest, best moment? Meeting the moment being as big as it was, him meeting it, letting the crowd also tell the story where he was the maestro of it all, Bob. Which
Well,
one stands out?
there are so many that could be tied first. And I'm going to name three before I get to the one that is actually my choice.
Okay.
These three are better known to the national audience than the one I'm going to choose because they were either on national TV or it was a moment everybody saw on TV, which was Hank Aaron's 715th home run, which was called by Kurt Gowdy on NBC television, by Milo Hamilton in very exciting and capable fashion on Braves radio, and also by Vin on Dodgers radio. So people know what he said, not just the call of the home run, but in the aftermath. What a marvelous moment for baseball and for the country. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking the record of an all-time baseball idol. Then excelled not just on the call of the play, but the sort of postscript thing that tied a ribbon around it, or the framing of a big moment leading up to the dramatic payoff. So that's where the Kirk Gibson at-bat in '88 fits in. And it was not incidental. That count went to 3-2. It were simple foul balls. So the anticipation played out. First, you saw Gibson in the dugout. He hadn't even suited up before the game. Then you see him limping out of the on-deck circle. And then the at-bat plays out and the 10 build. He struck out. In fact, him striking out against Dennis Eckersley was much more likely than the home run. But no matter what had happened, Vin had framed it. The ball going through Bill Buckner's legs. Vin's voice almost cracks, and that actually conveys something to the audience. If even the great Vin Scully, paragon of professionalism, is so shocked by the bizarre turn of events in this inning that his voice almost cracks, he doesn't fail to dot an I or cross any T. The call is completely accurate, but he's starting to say, little roller up along first, behind the bag, and then he realizes that the ball is going to go under his glove, and it becomes behind the bag. And you just hear that little quiver in his voice, which communicates to the audience, I'm as shocked by this as you are. And then he immediately picks up. It gets to Buckner. Here comes night, and the Mets win it. And after, as you know, after the Gibson home run, the great line, he has a little bit of time to gather himself, and the crowd has exploded, and all the tumult is happening on the field. And the great line, in a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened. Well, if you have a week to think of a better caption to put beneath that picture, how could you possibly do better? So now here's my choice.
Okay.
It's the radio call in September 1965 of Sandy Koufax's perfect game. And what you often hear on highlight reels is just the last pitch to Harvey Keene, swung on and missed, a perfect game. But if you listen to the entire inning, this is such a masterpiece. If you had a week to sit down and look at this thing and try and improve upon a comma, you could just walk away shaking your head saying, nothing to do here. Perfect as is. Extemporaneously, absolutely perfect. Every little detail, every observation, every grace note and turn of phrase. Even if Harvey Keene had gotten a base hit, it would have been a masterpiece leading up to that conclusion. You just can't improve upon that. As a fellow broadcaster, you stand in awe, not just respect or admiration. You stand in awe of that level of talent.
Bob Costas here on the Rich Eisen Show. That was perfect in its own right there, Bob. Thank you for that. And on top of all of that, the moments you just mentioned in Scully's career where he met the moment, and the moments were huge. Obviously, all of them were baseball. He called the catch. He called Montana to Clark. I mean, which is, if you put together the top 10 moments in the history of the NFL, immaculate reception. I mean, we could go on and on and on. But the catch is there, not just because of how spectacular a play it was, but it is the moment where the Niners finally hit back at Landry's Cowboys and sparked not only this rivalry that still happens to this day. We talk about it at the last year's playoff game when the Niners and Cowboys played one another, but it was Montana's moment of a rival. It was Candlestick's potentially best moment ever. That's Scully had that too, Bob.
Yeah,
Unreal.
and there was a line somewhere in there that Candlestick Park is a madhouse.
A madhouse.
Vin had a quality in his voice. Of course, it was distinctive and it was very pleasing, and it was very well suited to the rhythms and pace of baseball, which he seemed to understand intuitively. But in any sport he called, this might not seem obvious until someone points it out. Vin's voice, like Al Michaels in his own way, is in a high register. It's not a basso profundo voice. It's in a high register, naturally. So that cuts through crazy crowds. Whereas people whose voices are at a lower register sometimes get lost in the crowd. Vin's voice, as does Al Michaels in his own way and some others, cuts through every time.